Okay, hello guys. I hope you are doing well after the prelims. So, ito yung una nating discussion after the examination. Okay? So, our discussion for today is all about magnetism. Okay, so si magnetism and electromagnetism, kung halimbawang abutin ng oras, so i-explore din natin. So, they are the foundational topics na nag-explain kung paano yung electrical energy is generated, kung paano siya nakokontrol, and kung paano siya gamitin sa mga radiologic imaging systems. And guys, without these principles, so yung mga component tulad ng transformer, motors, and X-ray tube circuits, so they will not function. Okay? So si magnetism, it may appear abstract at first, pero by the end of our lecture, malalaman nyo kung paanong yung magnetic principles ay na-apply sa ating equipments. Okay? And let's start doon sa history. So ito guys, it dates back approximately 1000 BC. Okay? And ito ay na-apply doon sa village of Magnesia sa western Turkey. Okay? Sila yung nakadiscover ng magnetite, an oxide of iron. So, yung mga ancient shepherds, naobserbahan nila yung certain naturally occurring stones, they could attract iron objects tulad ng nails or tools, kung available na yung nails that time. Okay? So, later, natawag siyang magnetite. And again, siya ay magnetized na iron oxide. So, kung itong mga magnetite stones na to, they are suspended freely using a string, so they will rotate and align themselves in a particular direction. And yung mga early observers, naniniwala silang yung stones na to are pointing toward the water. Pero later naunawaan nila na ito ay naka-align doon mismo sa Earth's magnetic field. And dahil itong stones, they appeared as guide travelers, so tawag nila tong lodestones, or meaning leading stones. And syempre, itong discovery na to, it ultimately led doon sa invention of magnetic compass. Okay? And it revolutionized yung navigation and na-expand yung human exploration thanks to this compass. So, si magnetism, it is a fundamental property of matter. Okay? And yung mga ancient observers, nalaman nila na yun nga, nakaka-attract ng iron filling si lodestone. So, yun yung una nilang naobserbahan. And second, nalaman nila na by rubbing yung rod, so yung rod with fur, so kapag kinuskus mo doon, it will cause friction, and it will attract small lightweight objects tulad ng mga paper, mga any lightweight materials. Okay? And yung magnetism, hindi siya directly na-perceive ng ating human senses. Wala tayong biological organ to detect that. Hindi katulad ng temperature, so nararamdaman natin whether it is cold or hot, or yung mass, nararamdaman natin like yung weight or the pressure. Si magnetic field, hindi natin siya nararamdaman at unless mag-interact siya with another magnetic or ferromagnetic object. Okay? And sa atomic level, ang magnetism, it arises mula doon sa motion ng charged particles. Okay? Particularly electrons. And unlike doon sa electric charge, di ba meron siya smallest unit like the electrons, and also it exists as discrete positive and negative units. Yung magnetism kasi, wala siyang isolated na smallest unit such as a single magnetic pole. Okay? And instead, yung magnetism, guys, it exists as a dipole phenomenon, not monopole or something. Dipole phenomenon, not monopole. Tinatawag siyang bipolar o dipolar. Meaning, it involves yung paired na north and south components. Okay? Kahit na yung magnets, paulit-ulit mong i-break into two, ang mangyayari pa rin dyan, meron pa rin siya north and south pole. So again, yung magnet, it has two poles, yung north and south, and yung magnets, pagka ini-describe natin siya, they are bipolar or dipolar. And because of this, yung magnetic pole, they cannot exist independently. Hindi pwedeng ang magnet ay meron lang south or meron lang north. Okay? So again, kahit sira-sirain mo yan, i-break mo into two, it will always have two poles. So now, pag-usapan natin yung pinakamalaki na magnetic field. So, we are talking about the Earth. Pero, yun nga, to provide context, ang Earth, they behave like a giant bar magnet. And yung magnetic field lines niya, it extends from the geographic south toward the geographic north. Pero kahit sobrang laki niya, yung Earth's magnetic field is relatively weak. And to give you a perspective ng numbers, in numbers, ano lang siya guys, 50 microtesla doon sa equator and 100 microtesla doon sa pole. Unlike doon sa ating MRI, which is ang pinaka-strongest ngayon ay, I think nasa 3 Tesla, 3.0. Okay? Which is 1,000 times more na stronger kaysa sa ating Earth. Okay? And sa magnetic field strength, when it comes to yun nga, sa strength mismo, meron tayong dalawang units. Ang ating SI unit para sa field strength ay Tesla, and yung Gauss is the older unit. Kung i-ano natin yan, i-convert, yung 1 Tesla guys, tandaan nyo na equivalent siya sa 10,000 Gauss. Okay? So, itong dalawang unit na to, si Tesla at si Gauss ay in-honor natin doon sa dalawang personalities na nagbigay ng contribution sa magnetism. Okay? So, first, we have Wilhelm Weber. Okay? Isa siyang German physicist, and together with Carl Friedrich Gauss, sila yung inventor ng first na electromagnetic telegraph. Not only that, nagbigay kasi sila ng, because of this, Carl Gauss, isa siyang mathematician na nag-contribute not only doon sa electrostatics and magnetism, so meron din siyang malawak na experience sa field ng mathematics. Tulad dito, nagbigay siya ng contribution sa number theory, sa algebra, statistics, differential geometry, geodesy, and so on. So, sila yung nagbigay ng ways para makalculate ng tama yung ating magnetic field. And also, itong si Nikola Tesla, ang kilala ng lahat. So, isa siyang Serbian-American physicist, inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, and futurist na kilala sa pag-design ng AC or yung alternating current na electricity supply system. Nakakabulo siyang basahin. So si Tesla, kung ito si Wilhelm Weber and si Carl Gauss, nabigay sila ng way to calculate the magnetism, si Nikola Tesla, siya yung nagbigay ng contribution kung paano i-apply yung magnetism. And because of these honored personalities, so in order to honor their contribution dito sa field na to, so sila yung ginamit dito. Okay? Si Tesla and si Gauss. No, mostly, pagka pinag-uusapan natin yung, for example, yung specs ng MRI, so, bibigay natin siya sa term na Tesla. Okay? And currently, alam ko 3 ang pinaka-strongest ngayon. Okay, next. Okay. Ang critical rule in physics is that yung magnetic field lines, they always form in closed loops. Unlike yung sa electric field, which can start doon sa positive charge and end sa negative charge, ang magnetic field kasi has no beginning and no end. And kung halimbawa hindi mo sila nakikita, itong loops na to are constantly flowing. Okay? Kung halimbawa maglagay ka ng piece of paper over a magnet and mag-sprinkle ka ng iron fillings doon, yung fillings, they would align themselves along these invisible tracks. Okay? And because of those, marireveal yung mismong shape ng magnetic energy. Okay? Itong constant looping na to is the reason why yung magnet have two poles. Okay? Ang line, it must leave on one end and return to the other side para makompleto yung circle. Okay? And also, yung electrons, guys, they don't sit still. Okay? Nag-o-orbit siya doon sa nucleus. Okay? And any charged particle in motion, tandaan nyo, it creates a magnetic field. Kung ang charged particle ay stationary o hindi gumagalaw, meron lang siya, guys, na electric field. Di ba? Yun doon sa electrostatics na minention natin, yung pinag-aralan natin last exam. Okay? Pag stationary, meron lang siyang electric field. But, the moment it starts to move, yung magnetic field na yun ay mai-induce or makikreate around it. Okay? And the magnetic field, it moves in a plane that is exactly perpendicular doon sa direction ng particle's motion. Okay? And sa X-ray tube, we are dealing with billions of moving electrons. So, ibig sabihin, we are constantly managing these induced magnetic fields. Okay? So, again, yung electrons, they orbit around the nucleus. And because yung electron is a charged particle and is moving in a circuit, so it creates a magnetic field along the axis of that rotation. Okay? Yun yung tinatawag natin na orbital magnetic moment. Okay? So, imagine niyo yung path ng electron sa tiny loop ng wire. Okay? Yung moment na pinag-uusapan natin is yung strength at saka direction ng magnet na nagawa dun sa loop. Okay? Again, strength at direction siya ng magnet when we say a moment. And sa most atoms, itong orbits na to, they are oriented in different directions and cancel each other out. Okay? Kaya yung most things like yung, example, yung desk o yung inyong clothes, so they are not magnetic. Okay? Kasi yung orientation mismo ng orbits are in different direction. Okay? Walang unity. And because of that, nakakancel nila yung isa't isa. So, walang na-form na magnet mismo. And also, in addition doon sa orbiting doon sa nucleus, ang electrons, meron siyang isa pang type of motion na pinapakita dito. Okay? So, we call this electron spin. Whether yung electron ay nag-spin siya clockwise or counterclockwise, yung rotation na yun, uh, it creates a second magnetic field o yung tinatawag naman natin na magnetic moment. Sorry. Uh, spin magnetic moment. So, ang secret doon sa magnetic materials in most atoms, ang electrons, guys, they exist in pairs. And when they are paired, they usually spin sa opposite directions. And yung magnetic fields, they are cancelled out. Pero sa atoms, guys, na merong odd number of electrons sa outer shells nila, they will have an unpaired electron. And yung single unpaired spin na yon, it will create a small magnetic field. Okay? Small net magnetic field. Kaya yung mga elements like yung iron or iba pang mga materials that are strongly magnetic, meron silang several unpaired electrons. Okay? Kaya sila nakaka-attract. Okay? Yung ibang objects like plastics and so on, so they are not magnetic. Kasi hindi unpaired yung kanilang electrons. Okay? So again, sa spin magnetic moment, yung magnetic effect nila, they are also established by electrons spinning on their axis. Sa mga non-magnetic objects, yung magnetic dipoles, they are randomly arranged, tulad ng sabi ko kanina. Kaya nakakancel out nila yung isa't isa. Pero, kung ang external force field ay merong time or strength to orient enough, ang mangyayari, it will create a uniformly strong magnetic field. Okay? Kaya ayun yung tinatawag natin na magnets. Okay? Kapag kaya nilang i-arrange yung kanilang dipoles in the same direction, so, ang mangyayari, it will grow in size. Okay? And yun yung tinatawag natin na magnetic force or magnetic field. Okay? So, tulad dito sa example na ito, kapag dito for example, dito sa gray na part na to, ito sa letter C. Okay, kung makikita nyo guys, yung dipoles niya, they are randomly arranged. But, kung halimbawa magkaroon ng time and strength para mai-arrange nila yung mga dipoles in one direction, doon papasok yung magkakaroon ng magnetic field. Okay? And, yun nga, yung magnet, they are defined as the north and south poles. And, tingnan nyo yung tulad dito sa image na to, yung lines of force, they always flow from north to south. And, yun ay sa outside ng magnet. Pero, within the magnet, it is south to north. So, kung mapapansin nyo, closed loop nga siya. Okay? Pwedeng concentrated siya sa isang portion, like this one, pero hindi sila nag-i-intersect. Okay? So, pag sinabi yung magnetic flux, so, yun ay magnetic field. Okay? Lines of force, lines of flux, or magnetic field. Okay? Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin yung mga law Okay? So, katulad doon sa electricity, so meron din tayong law sa magnetic, like this one, yung repulsion and attraction. Pero unlike do sa like charges repel and unlike charges attract, dito yung poles ang pinag-uusapan natin. So like this one, like poles repel and like poles attract. Okay? We also have a rule katulad nun doon sa electric charges, yung inverse square law. Okay? So paglayo ng paglayo ng isang object doon sa magnetic field, so pag less ng intensity. Okay? It also applies sa magnetism. And yung third law ay yung magnetic poles. Siyempre, every magnet has two poles, the north and south. Okay? Kahit putol-putulin yan, so it will always have two poles. Okay? Next, sa magnetism, an accumulation of many atomic magnets with their dipoles aligned, so it will create a magnetic domain. Okay? If all magnetic domains are aligned, they act like a magnet. Tulad nito nasa lower portion. Okay? Once na ma-position siya in one direction. Okay? Next ay pag-usapan naman natin yung dito sa magnetism. The magnetic dipoles in a bar magnet, they can be thought of generating an imaginary lines of magnetic field. Okay? Kung ang non-magnetic material ay dinala natin near the magnet, so yung magnetic lines na yon, they are not disturbed. Pero kapag yung isang magnetic material, ilalagay mo mismo sa magnet, so yung magnetic field na yon, madedeviate siya and mako-concentrate siya sa isang magnetic material. So, dito papasok yung dalawang terms na yung dito sa magnetism, yung permeability at saka susceptibility. Pag sinabi yung permeability, ay yung ability niya na ma-attract yung lines ng magnetic field intensity. Okay? Ability to attract the lines of magnetic field. Yung susceptibility naman, from its word na susceptible, so ibig sabihin yung degree kung paano siya ma-magnetize. Okay? For example, dito sa natin, yung iron, meron siyang high magnetic permeability. Yung ability niya to attract yung magnetic field, and also susceptible din siya. Okay? Pwede din siyang ma-magnetize. At the same time, yung wood, so low magnetic permeability and low din yung susceptibility niya. Okay? Then, yung hysteresis naman, kung ang material ay paulit-ulit na namamagnetize or demagnetize, pwede siyang maka-experience ng hysteresis. Ibig sabihin ng hysteresis, it is a form of internal friction. Okay? Friction or resistance doon sa changing magnetic state. Okay? So, yun yung reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng heat loss sa isang X-ray equipment. So, parang lang yan. Di ba napag-usapan natin yung dipoles at magnetic domains. So, sa X-ray generator, ang ginagamit kasi natin is alternating current. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung magnetic field, hindi siya static, which it is constantly flipping back and forth. Okay? So, kung ano man, by number is 60 times per second sa isang standard circuit. Now, yung hysteresis, isa siyang magnetic friction or lag na nag-u-occur kung halimbawa yung material na yon ay nire-resist niya yung rapid changes sa magnetism. Sorry. magnetization. Okay? And as the AC current reverses, yung magnetic domains na yun sa transformer core ay nare-reverse yung kanyang orientation. And yung some domains na yun, they remain stubborn. Okay? And ayaw nilang mag-flip back immediately. So yung resistance doon sa change na yon, it requires extra energy para ma-overcome yung resistance na yon. And yung wasted energy na yon, hindi siya naglalaho basta. Okay? So nako-convert siya sa heat within the core ng transformer. Okay? Kaya ang reason kung bakit yung mga high voltage generators natin kailangan ng cooling systems at saka oil immersion. So, kung yung material ay may mataas na magnetic susceptibility, ibig sabihin, nag-flip siya easily and bababa yung kanyang hysteresis. Okay? And kung mataas yung kanyang yung tinatawag na retentivity o yung pananatili, okay? So, nananatili siyang magnetized kahit na tumitigil na yung current. And because of that, it will lead doon sa significant na hysteresis loss. Okay? So, kaya sa ating imaging, pinipili natin yung mga materials like yung soft silicon steel para doon sa course natin kasi kaya niyang pababain yung hysteresis loop. Okay? So, meaning, yung loss doon sa little energy heat during the rapid switching ay nababawasan. Okay? So, again, yung hysteresis is a heat loss. Okay? Next, ay pag-usapan naman natin uh, yung iba't ibang states ng magnetism. Okay, you have four. We have a non-magnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, and paramagnetic. Okay? Pag sinabing non-magnetic, syempre, yun yung mga materials na totally unaffected sa magnetic fields. So, syempre, ang included dyan ay yung wood, yung glass, yung plastic. Okay? Ang reason, kasi yung electrons nila ay paired. At saka yung orbits nila ay naka-arrange na hindi kayang ma-magnetize. Ay yung non-magnetic. Ang diamagnetic naman ay weakly repelled. Okay? So, weakly repelled by either magnetic poles. So, hindi sila ma-magnetize and hindi rin sila attracted doon sa magnet. Okay? Ang example dyan ay yung water and certain plastics. Okay? So, you may find it surprising, pero yung water doon sa ating katawan, they are technically diamagnetic. Okay? So, yun din yung reason kung bakit yun yung ginagamit natin sa MRI. Okay? Water. Kasi 80% ng ating katawan is made up of water. Next is a ferromagnetic. Okay? Ferromagnetic, ito yung true magnets. They are strongly attracted sa magnet and they can be permanently magnetized. Ang included dito ay yung iron, yung cobalt, at saka nickel. Okay, these materials, meron silang domains na nag-aalaw to concentrate yung magnetic flux lines. Magnetic flux. Okay, or magnetic field. Lastly, yung paramagnetic, sila yung mga materials na in between noong non-magnetic and ferromagnetic. They are weakly attracted doon sa magnetic field and are loosely influenced by the external magnet. Okay? And ang example ng paramagnetic is yung gadolinium, yung contrast agent na ginagamit natin sa MRI. Okay? Again, dito sa 4, ang non-magnetic is yung no interaction. Okay? Ang example ay wood, A diamagnetic is weakly repelled, like water and plastic. Ferromagnetic ay yung strongly attracted and can be magnetized, like the iron, nickel, and cobalt. Ang paramagnetic is weakly attracted. Okay? Ang example natin sa paramagnetic is yung gadolinium. Next ay yung iba't ibang magnets. Yung first one is yung natural magnet. So, gawa siya dun sa iron oxide remains. Okay? Galing sa Earth. So, ito yung mga natural magnet. Ang isang example nito is yung lodestone. Okay? Yung natural magnets, meron silang limited na practical use kasi yung magnetic force nito is very weak and irregular. Okay? And also, another thing ay yung ating Earth, largest. Okay? It is the best example kasi it moves around its axis kaya nang-generate siya ng magnetic field. Pero, yun nga, yung strength niya is lower kasi 50 microtesla lang doon sa equator and may 100 microtesla doon sa opposite poles. Okay? We also have yung artificially produced magnets. Okay? Yung ginagamit natin sa compass. Okay? Available in any sizes and shapes. Pero, ang common, di ba, is yung mga bar magnet. Okay? Meron din ng mga horseshoe o yung mga U na magnets. Okay? Ito ay pwedeng ma-destroy by means of heating with a hammer or by heating the magnet para mawala yung kanilang power. Okay? Yung magnetic power nila. Pwede silang i-heat. Okay? Ang isa example natin also dito ay yung compass. And lastly, we have electromagnets. So, electromagnets, they consist of wire na nakabalot dun sa iron core. Okay? Yun yung ginagamit natin sa transformer. Okay? So, a coil of wire wrap around the iron core that intensifies the magnetic field. And when the electric current is conducted dun sa wire, nagkakaroon ng magnetic field. Okay? So, itong electromagnets, meron siyang ability na makontrol parehas ng electricity and magnetism. Kaya electromagnets. Okay? So, itong isang example natin is a solenoid. Ibig sabihin yung naka-coil around the iron. Okay? Pag-usapan naman natin yung apat na fundamental forces of nature na basic interactions na nag-govern ng lahat-lahat sa ating universe. Okay? So, we have 4. Pero kung i-arrange nyo yan by strength, syempre, ang pinaka-strongest dyan ay itong strong nuclear. Yan. Followed by electromagnetic, tapos weak nuclear, then gravity. Okay? So dito, yung gravity, ina-attract niya yung objects na may mass toward each other. Okay? Siya yung weakest doon sa apat, pero siya yung nagdo-dominate ng lahat. Okay? Ang example niyan, yung mga planets na nag-orbit sa Sun, and syempre, yung mga nag-hold ng galaxies together. Okay? So, dinescribe ito ni Einstein doon sa general relativity as a curvature ng space-time. Then we have a strong nuclear force. So, ito yung nag-hold ng protons at saka ng nucleons together doon sa atomic nucleus. Okay? It acts on quarks at saka gluons. Okay, basta pag nakita niyo to strong nuclear force, so yan yung nagkakapit doon sa ating protons and neutrons. Yun lang siya. Okay? Pag sinabi namang weak nuclear force, So, ito naman ay responsible doon sa radioactive decay. Okay? So, ito naman ay doon sa mga quarks and leptons. Okay? And next ay yung electromagnetic force. Okay? Ito naman ay between the charged particles naman. Okay? And ito yung responsible doon sa electricity, magnetism, light, at saka sa chemical bonding, electromagnetic force. So, paano natin buburahin ngayon to annotation? Next, electricity, magnetism, and X-ray tube. Okay? Siyempre, yung primary purpose ng X-ray tube ay i-convert yung alternating current into electromagnetic energy. Okay? Siya yung application nun. Next ay pag-usapan naman natin yung electromagnetic induction. Okay? An electric current is induced in a circuit if some of part of the circuit is in a changing magnetic field. Okay? Changing. So, pag-usapan naman natin yung dalawang experiment. Okay? So, meron kasing dalawang nag-contribute dito, si Hans Ørsted at saka si Michael Faraday. Si Michael Faraday, na-observe niya na yung current in a changing magnetic field. Okay? Siya yung nag-describe ng unang law ng electromagnetic induction. Si Hans Ørsted naman, dinemonstrate niya na yung electricity ay magagamit to generate magnetic field naman. Okay, magkabaliktad. So, i-explain ko to later. Electromagnetic force, okay? So, electricity and magnetism, so, parehas, they are different aspects of the same electromagnetic force. Okay? Ang electromagnetic force is one of yung forces of nature, yung pinag-usapan natin dito. Okay? So, dito sa electromagnetic force, mas naunawaan siya noong na-develop yung battery. Okay? So, yung battery, around 1700, so na-discover siya ni Alessandro Volta. Okay? Ang ginawa niya, merong layers ng zinc at saka copper plates na nakababad sa brine o yung salt water. Okay? So, yun nga, para ma-increase yung current, ang ginagawa niya, dinadagdagan din niya yung stock ng copper at zinc plates katulad ng dogwood sandwich. Or in a simple term, is yung sandwich lang. Zinc, copper, zinc, copper. So, ganun lang yung patos ng plates. Okay? And nung na-form siya, tinatawag tong voltaic pile. Okay? And ito yung pinaka simula or yung unang pagkakagawa ng battery. Okay? And yung battery na yan yung naging source ng electromagnetic force. Okay? So, itong bawat zinc copper sandwich, so tinatawag siya cell of a battery. And yung mga modern kasi na batteries ngayon, or dry cells, so gumagamit na sila ng carbon rod as a positive electrons surrounded by the electrolytic paste na nakalagay mismo doon sa yung mismong body ng battery. So, negative zinc yun. Okay? In a cylindrical cut. Kaya again, ang battery is an example of electromotive force. Okay? And ibig sabihin yan, yung mga sources na electromotive force ay yung mga device na nagko-convert into some form of energy into electric energy. Okay? Or in short, sila ay stored na electric energy. Okay? And yung unit niya, so kaparehas niya sa electricity, joules per coulomb or volts. So let's move on dito sa ano natin. Punta tayo kay Hans Ørsted. Okay? So si Hans Ørsted, noong 1820, so isa siyang Danish physicist na ito yung ginawa niya. Okay? Yung upon his discovery, nag-perform siya ng demonstration sa pamamagitan ng wire at saka ng battery. So, napansin niya na tuwing buhay yung current, so yung nearby compass needle gumagalaw. To. And yung experiment na yan, na-prove niyan yung electricity, kaya niya mag-produce ng magnetism. Okay? Na-discover niya na yung magnetic field, nagpo-form siya ng circle around any wire with an electric current. Okay? And para ma-determine yung direction ng field na yon, so gumagamit tayo ng right hand rule. Okay? Sa right hand rule, okay, kung halimbawa nakaano kayong okay na sign. So yung thumb mo sa right, so kung pamamasdan mo, yun yung direction ng current flow. And ngayon, yung fingers mo na naka-curl, so yun yung direction naman ng magnetic lines. Okay? The same rules, ina-apply siya if the current is flowing in a circular loop. Okay, again, yung kanyang observation, yung moving na electric charges, nagpo-produce siya ng magnetic field. Okay? Again, yung moving electric charges, nag-induce siya ng magnetic field according kay Ørsted. And para ma-determine yung direction ng magnetic field, gumagamit tayo ng right hand. Okay? So, ang application niyan, guys, ay yung electromagnets. Okay? By coiling a wire, use solenoid, like this one. So, pag ikinoil natin yan doon sa iron core, so nakakapagbuo tayo ng magnetic field na pwedeng buhayin at patayin. Okay? And ito yung ginagamit natin sa stator ng ating X-ray tubes induction motor spin. Okay? Next naman ay itong kay Michael Faraday. Okay? Ang ito naman ay yung opposite ng discovery ng Ørsted. Okay? Naisip ni Michael Faraday, kung ang electricity ay kayang mag-create ng magnetism, so ang magnetism ba ay kayang mag-create ng electricity? So binaliktad naman niya. And through his experiments, nalaman niya na kapag ginalaw mo yung magnet doon sa coil of wire, pinupush niya yung electrons and it creates a current. Okay? Yun naman yung tinatawag nating electromagnetic induction. Okay? So, ang tandaan nyo guys, kailangan nyo ng changing magnetic field para makapag-induce ng current. Okay? So, tandaan nyo din, yun doon sa law ni Faraday, so, yung lakas ng induced current, so nakadepende siya doon sa strength ng magnetic field. Okay? Kapag stronger yung magnet, syempre makakapag-induce siya ng more current. Okay? And also, kung gano'ng pagbilis ng galaw ng magnet doon sa wire, so more current yung mapoproduce. And also, yung most current, when it comes to angle, napoproduce siya kapag yung wire, it cuts the magnetic field lines or naka 90 degrees yung angle niya. And also, yung number of turns. Okay? More coils of wire, syempre magre-result din ng higher induced voltage. Okay? Again, sa strength ng magnetic field, sa bilis or velocity, sa angle, at saka sa number of turns. Okay? Apat. Okay? So, ito yung foundation ng transformers and generators. Okay? So, sa X-ray machine, gumagamit tayo ng Faraday's law to step up the voltage from 220, okay, mula yun sa wall, and 100,000 volts or kBp para makapag-produce ng X-ray. Okay? Pag-usapan naman natin yung electric motor at saka, ayan, electric motor lang muna. Okay? Sa electric motor, siya yung device na nagko-convert ng electrical energy into mechanical energy, di ba? Into motion. Okay? And it uses magnetic field created by the current para ma-push yung rotor and mapaikot yon. Ang generator naman, on the other hand, yung kabaliktaran niya, so kino-convert naman niya yung mechanical energy into electrical energy. Okay? And ang example nun is yung para mapaikot yung coil inside the magnetic field. So, nag-i-induce siya ng electricity para mag-flow. Okay? So, again, electric motor, ang input niya is electricity, yung output niya is mechanical. Sa electric generator naman, ang input natin is yung mechanical motion, then ang output is yung electricity. Okay? So, ang isang example nito is yung commutator ring, yung like this one, yung image natin. So, siniswitch niya yung direction ng current doon sa loop. Okay, pinapaikot. Para makapag-produce uh, ng mechanical energy. Okay? Electric energy applied doon sa current loop to produce an mechanical motion. So, equivalent yon doon sa rotational loop sa magnetic field. Okay? Sa X-ray tube, yung stator windings doon, di ba meron tayong pinag-usapan last time, yung sa induction motor, di ba meron pa tayong acronym, yung SORI. Okay? Yung stator inside, rotator, stator outside, rotator inside. Okay? So, yung stator winding sa X-ray tube, so napapaikot niya yung anode without any current sa loob sa pamamagitan ng induction motor. Okay? Ang induction motor naman, so siya yung specific type ng motor na ginagamit ngayon sa lahat ng X-ray tube. Okay? And since yung loob ng X-ray tube ay vacuum, okay? So wala tayong traditional wires or brushes na umiikot doon sa part para umikot. Okay? So, kasi bawal magkaroon ng ano dyan hanggat maaari ng butas kasi magkakaroon ng presence ng air. And yung air, pwede siyang mag-interact doon sa electrons and mapababa niya yung energy kasi instead na dumiretso agad siya sa anode, so meron pa siyang ibang na kaka-interact and it will lose its energy. So kaya kailangan vacuum. Okay? So now, wala kasi tayong traditional brushes or wires para mapaikot yon. So kailangan pa rin niyang umikot. And para maging possible yon, we have electromagnetic induction. Okay? So, mapapaikot natin yan without a physical contact. Okay? So, parang nakahang lang yan, pero tuloy ang rotation. So, kung halimbawa i-prep natin yung X-ray machine, yung current na yun guys, it will be sent dun sa stator in a sequence. Okay? And it will create a rotating magnetic field. Yung magnetic field na yun, ini-induce niya yung current dun sa rotor na magkakaroon ngayon ng sariling magnetic field. Okay? And when these two fields interact, syempre, it will cause the rotor to chase its stator's field. Kaya mapapaikot niya yung anode sa bilis na around 10,000 rotation per minute. Okay? And also, kailangan kasi guys na umiikot yung anode. Kasi kung hindi iikot yan, tulad nung yung mga naka-vivel na design or naka-angulate na design, so ang mangyayari, concentrated lang sa isang area yung heat. And mabilis mag-fit yung anode. Okay? Tapos yan, yung electric generator na mention ko naman na kanina. And last ay yung Lenz's law. Okay? Yung Lenz's law, induced current flows in a direction such that it opposes the action that induces it. Okay? Sa Lenz's law, yung sa Faraday kasi, di ba, sinasabi kung how much yung current is induced. Pero, yung sa Lenz's law, sinasabi niya sa atin yung direction na kung saan magpo-flow yung current. Okay? So, ang nag-ano niyan ay si Heinrich Lenz. Okay? So, in-establish niya na yun nga, yung induced current, it flows in a direction such that na yung magnetic field ay nagkikreate ng opposed changes doon sa napoproduce niya. Okay? So, isipin niyo na lang na yung Silence Law is yung resistance ng nature to change. Okay? Yun yung pinaka-essence ng Lenz Law. Okay? Kung halimbawang i-push niyo yung magnet dun sa coil ng wire, yung coil, magkikreate siya ng magnetic field and susubukan niyang i-push yung magnet palabas. And kung halimbawang hilahin mo naman yung magnet palabas, yung coil naman ay ma-flip yung polarity niya and susubukan niya uling i-pull back in yung magnet. Okay? So, sa X-ray equipment natin, kaya meron tayong self-induction doon sa auto-transformer ay because of that. And also, yung mutual induction naman, yun naman is yung by inducing a current flow through a secondary coil. Okay? Pinapas niya yung current kaya may mutual induction. And this is important doon sa transformers. Okay? So, ito yung magiging discussion naman natin next week. Okay? And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to chat me. Okay? Since recorded lang ito, alam ko hindi kayo makakapagtanong unless matapos nyo yung video. So, yun lang guys. I hope na marami kayo natutunan today. Okay? Bye guys!